everybody. Welcome to Ask a Headhunter Live. It's 5 p.m. Tuesday. And look who we got here. We got Kelly and Steve joining us. So if you're watching or joining, can't wait to see you. And I don't know what we're going to talk about today. So we'll look to questions. If either of you have any questions or you want to kind of go over something else, you know me, as flexible as a clam. So anything exciting?
Go ahead, Steve.
You know, I think what a lot of us, I'm just going to speak for myself, what I'm challenged with is I have a lot of candidates in my database. What's really difficult now is to make sure that within the database itself that we use AI to scour a job in to find the right candidates. Because let's face it, I mean, you remember when we talked a couple of weeks ago, Thomas, and there were literally several hundred candidates that I could email. And that's just a lot. I mean, that's just a lot of candidates to filter through. So I guess the filtering is what I would really
working down on the filtering.
Like to get a lot better at that.
Is you know, trying to filter down by experience. I try to do a lot of things like look at how long have they been at the company, but then you end up getting yourself in like this preconceived notion that no one's going to leave after 8 years when it happens all the time, right? So we tend to have these preconceived notions about candidates and whatnot, and how do we overcome them to make sure we're not missing out on the good candidates? That's the one good thing I will say. I don't know if it's turned us lazy or not, but the one good thing we have with all the tools of email and LinkedIn and all that is we can touch a lot more people quicker. But you also can't use all your rebuttals, overcome objections on all of them if you're just sending emails or you're just sending LinkedIn connection requests. But I will tell you, I'm doing a search in Kentucky, Indiana, Cincinnati, Dayton. They can live in any of those areas. And I did my standard LinkedIn connection request. I already got 3 people who were interested. And it was just a simple, hey, I got an opportunity, and it's attacking them kind of a different way. It doesn't probably work for your role, but I'm trying to say, hey, you're doing this. How would you like to still do that, but get outside of the office, do something different, but still be involved in what you went to school for? It's an architectural position where we're looking for an architect who wants to be like a sales rep, but not a cold calling sales rep, someone to do specification sales. So it's a different way of looking at things. And I kind of like the way that we can attack it, because there's no rebuttal to, I like sitting behind a desk all day doing design, right? I can't overcome that objection. I don't want that engineer or that architect. So being able to quickly tell a whole bunch of people that I got an opportunity in their backyard that will allow them to still stay in civil engineering, doing land development, but actually be outside the office talking to other civil engineers and selling a product or promoting a product that is used in civil engineering and land development is a way to, like, when you tell someone who wants to do that, they see that LinkedIn message, they are on the phone immediately calling me. Whereas if they don't have an interest in it, they're not going to call me. And had I called them on the phone and pitched them the job, they would say, no, I'm cool, man. I don't like talking to people. I like sitting behind a desk.
Oh, so, absolutely. There is a beauty. There is a beauty, I think, and this happens to me all the time. I'm thinking, okay, it's great not to be contacted by people who don't want to talk to us. Mm-hmm. You know, there is a beauty in looking at 100 people, sending out 90 emails and saying, okay, if they do open it up, and I am getting better, I will say this, I am checking who opens up my stuff, and they're the first one to go on my list. I had not done that prior to about 3 weeks ago. I never paid attention to who opened it, but now that becomes a separate list.
Yeah, and that's a good idea to follow up. Kelly's big on that. I know she's off right this second. Hey, Leslie, welcome. Kelly's big on that follow up for people who open your emails. In fact, she uses a Smart Leads or one of those systems that shows you when someone opens your email 6, 7, 8, 9 times, right? And or downloads a file or whatever if you send the file or a link. And like if someone opens your email like 6, 7 times over a 3-day period, you should probably call that guy or gal. That means that they're probably interested. Why do they keep looking at your email if they're not interested? Right?
Yeah,
so
we're not able to do that in Loxo.
No.
No.
So that's the Pixel. We have the Pixel on Loxo to show the first open, but
Yes.
there are other email or cold email things like Upticks does it. No problem, Leslie. Upticks does it. Smartleads does it. I think even what's the one with the monkey or whatever? They all do it. They all have that option with that Pixel.
MailChimp?
But that Pixel, what one?
MailChimp?
MailChimp. Thank you. They all have
monkey.
that option. Monkey, chimp, whatever. So they all have that option, but the Pixel is what can get you put into spam. So you have to be careful, right?
Okay.
So there's a good side to it. Like, get to see how popular email is with one person. There's a bad side that if they have strict spam filters, or their company does, they're not going to get your email.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I did discover, if you want to do large lists of emails, Karsten Fox, who has the YouTube channel for marketing, and he does every 6 months, he'll do a email finder video and rank them on who's good, who's bad. He ended up starting his own contact finder thing called Cold Leads with a K, or Cold Info with a K, KOLDINFO. And I signed up for the trial. It's 50,000, and you get an extra 10,000 if you join now. 60,000 lookups for $97. They have a Chrome extension too that only works on OG LinkedIn, but it will scrape 1,000 profiles at a time. So if you could narrow people down on LinkedIn by, let's say, OG LinkedIn filters, title, right? Electrical superintendent, Chicago, Illinois Metro. You then and scrape them. It gets the email addresses for you, puts it in a CSV, and then you could drop it into a campaign. And
So
you can also scrape stuff from Jobin, right? Using Jobin on Navigator, and then drop it into Cold Info, and it'll get phone numbers for you. So it does a reverse CSV enrichment. So give it a try. You get a 2-week free trial. What?
KOLDFI.
KOLD. Yeah, KOLD. Let me get that right here. Cold Info. Yeah, Cold Info. Let's see here. Cold Info. Let's see. Yeah. I had a client who spells her name. Yeah, so this is Cold Info right here. I'll share my screen with you real quick. I'll show you to you.
Okay.
And let's see, it says 10,000 lead credits today for free, right? And valid until the May. So I got it. I bought it. I'm dumb. I spend my money like it's water. And
because you make you make money like it's wine.
So these are not like it's not great. Like, these are his databases, right? But you can also do enrichment. Like you can choose a CSV. Like, I can grab this one right here. Select it. All you have to do is select where the LinkedIn URL is in.
How are you
LinkedIn
finding his accuracy to be?
First 5 rows, all tables, right? Enrich preview. And so it cost me 287 tokens to confirm. And that's going to enrich, right? So that's working right now. And then, oh, look, it's already done. So, and these are his things. So he's got business email database, right? And it shows the person's name, the title, their email. And then you can put in different filters like organization, job start. But, like, it's not great yet. He's still working on it. This one isn't bad at all. This world database one. I said there was usually US local. This one. Yeah. So real estate brokers, US, Maryland, Delaware, DC, right? So it'll give you their website, their email, a phone number, their name, and what they do. So there's 238 real estate brokers. These are brokers, not agents, in Maryland, Delaware, and DC.
Are you finding it's pretty accurate?
It's not okay. I just started it, right? So let me see my exports. I just did that one, right? Is this right before it's the 15th? Yeah.
Yep.
So let's download this one we just did and see what it gives.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's save. So, I mean, look, we got all these emails here. Plus, we got more of emails over here. Plus, we got emails here. Phone numbers at work. More phone numbers, right? So, I mean, not horrible. And considering the cost is a third of sales QL, right? I mean, it just doesn't run as good. Like this is how the let me go to here. So if we do a search in LinkedIn and do superintendent, right? Superintendent. And then we do let's see, people. And then we go to all filters. Let's say assistant project manager is his title. He's in Maryland, and I don't know. He's in construction, and show results, right? So, oops. Okay, Maryland construction superintendent. What do we get? We got 100 pages, right? So you click on this. Where's his extension? Cold info, right? You have to like see the export right here. And it says numbers are straight, maximum 1,000, 10 pages. It'll grab all 10 pages, all 10 people.
Wow.
You know, so it's not horrible. It's just I wouldn't do it for very narrow searches where you had to use, because it doesn't work on Navigator, right? So if I was going to do it in Navigator, what I would do is to search in Navigator using job in, right? Because you can grab the whole entire search or whatever, right? I go to my leads, like my leads here. I can click on this one I just did. It's got 63. I can then, export it to job in, right? Download the CSV out of job in, put it into cold info, and then drop it into Loxo.
You could do the same with Canbox, I would imagine.
Yeah, Canbox, job in, but like Canbox,
as long as it has
Canbox,
as long as it has the LinkedIn URL.
Yeah, it's all you need is it linked to the URL. That's the most important thing. So there are some other nice things out there if you don't want to spend. And again, this is more for bulk email. Like if you're trying to do some narrow stuff, you might want to stick with some of the other ones. But for that price, $97 for 60,000 leads, I'm going to give it a try for a couple weeks and see how it goes. I'm helping a company out of Ukraine build out their cold email system. Mm-hmm. And so I got them that to use because they don't care about, all they want is like all the real estate brokers, all the consultants, all the business managers, all this. They don't care about size of the company. They don't care about title. They just want to mass email these people.
Well, it also could do well, say in locks. So if you know that trick that I showed you a while back, the common personal email addresses. If you put not in front of that string, you'll get all the ones that don't have a personal email address. Put that into a humongous CSV and see if for this cheap.
That's actually that's not a bad idea of going back through and doing that, because anything that's duplicated, Loxo will kick out anyway.
Correct.
So that's actually not a bad idea at all. If you wanted to update your database, like I don't know how many people I have in Loxo at the moment. Let's see, my name here. I got 19,410. So yeah, theoretically, I could go through and anybody who doesn't have a personal email address, right? I could just download that CSV, drop it into cold info, and put it back in with the LinkedIn URL and be good to go.
Well, those are the first people I try to contact, the ones that I have a LinkedIn, a personal email address, and then I can do two sides. One's I'll invite, like you do, to link up with me or connect with me. The other ones I have a direct email path to go to. Leslie, what's your story?
Did you come on to talk today, or are you just listening?
I'm just listening, honestly, kind of soaking as much as I can.
So we're probably going to do Fridays on job order intake, right? But I don't know how
oh wow,
well it's going to go because it's Good Friday, right?
I'll be there.
It'll be great.
So
It'll be great for the people who don't give a crap about
Good Friday. So I
That would be
really
me.
want to focus on what kind of we were talking about last Friday is really walking through all the questions that
Yeah.
you need to get answered when you're taking a good job order. And I have that old management recruiters one, plus someone sent me P. Lefkowitz one. I don't know if it was you or someone else, but
No,
someone sent me
I sent you Dershing's.
Dershing's. Okay. So I have Dershing's. Dershing's is similar to LinkedIn's or management recruiters. I just don't think is involved. Lefkowitz's is way involved. But I think the most important thing that I want to focus on when we're talking about that is what we were talking about last Friday, which is if the client or potential client isn't willing to spend the time with you, then leave, back away, right? You're working for free if you're a contingency recruiter. You're going to spend all this time searching and calling candidates. And if you don't have all the information going into it, you can't be as effective as you need to be. So I really want to focus on that Friday so we can really dig into that. And hopefully the newer recruiters or the people who've really not written a good job order understand what's so important, why it's so important to write a good job order. And I'm the first to say, like, with my existing clients, my job orders are, oh, you need another engineer? Where do you need them? Okay, thanks. That's it, right? Because I know what they want. But if I'm taking a new search, like I have a meeting tomorrow with the president of the company. I got the president reached out to me. We're having a great conversation. It's a big company. He's going to spend an hour on the phone with me. He's already committed to it. So I need a lot more information from them because it's a company I've never worked with before. And I'm going to ask all those pertinent questions that you need to ask if you're going to be effective on a job. So that's what I want to focus on for Friday. And I don't know, I'm hoping that we get enough people it goes over well, but if not, we'll repeat it again the following Friday.
Thanks. How did this president find you, if you don't mind me asking?
Pardon me?
How did the president find you?
Okay, so what happened was there's a guy who works for the company who I've known for a long time. And he shared on his LinkedIn profile a friend of his was in between jobs, and she happened to work for that company. So I sent her a message saying, look, you don't work exactly in my niche. However, Nick's a friend of mine. I'm going to help you out. And I optimized her LinkedIn profile for her and answered some other questions. So she said, hey, thank you so much. This is awesome. Would you read my resume? I did. And then she said, hey, a friend of mine who is a vice president at a division of this company that I want to get into needs her LinkedIn profile optimized. She called and asked me if I would do it. I don't have time. Will you do it? So sure. I called this lady, Stephanie. She's like, oh, thank you. So I did it. She's like, you're a god. I'll pay you whatever you want. I said, look, we just started doing this. We're getting ready to roll it out. Don't pay me. Can you introduce me to John? And she goes, absolutely. So she introduced me to John, and she asked me what my elevator pitch was. I gave her my elevator pitch. I responded back. She put it in email. Hey, John, it was great seeing you at the regional meeting, blah, blah, blah. I want to introduce you to Tom Alassio. He's wonderful and great. I responded, hey, Stephanie, thanks for the introduction. Hey, John, thanks for taking the time. My little elevator pitch. And he said, hey, I definitely want to talk to you. Can we do that today? This is a couple of days ago. Can we do it at Tuesday at 4:00? I said, no problem. Got on the phone, started talking to him. I guess I impressed him because, like, can we do a Teams meeting tomorrow? We want to use your firm. And so that's kind of where we are.
Excellent. Congratulations.
And it's one of those things where, how did I get there? Well, it's just staying on top. I know this sounds stupid, right? Or not stupid, but like it's a long game. This job is a long game in many instances. So it was, I stay in touch with Nick. I look at LinkedIn. I see Nick does this. I respond to this lady. And it goes back to kind of my stupid tagline. If I help everyone around me get what they want, I get everything I want. So I helped this woman look at her resume, optimize her LinkedIn profile. She introduced me to another woman who needed her LinkedIn profile optimized. I helped her. She introduced me to John. John needs to hire people. John's going to use our firm to hire people now. So this all started from me just helping someone, no money, no nothing, just helping out Nick's friend who was looking for a job, and it transpires to this.
Cool.
So I truly believe in that. And you can call it karma, you can call it whatever you want, but I truly believe in that. If you're just are constantly out there helping people when you can, don't take away from your core business. It took me 2 seconds to do what I did. That's going to come back in spades to help you, because people are going to remember you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks.
Of course. And so, I'd like to tell this story. Somebody asked me, like, how do I get business and what's so important about cold calls? And I talk about how when you're on a cold call, you have an opportunity to make an impression. And I don't care if it's with a client or it's with a candidate, but you have to make that impression. You want them to remember who you are. And you may heard me say, you want to leave that person mad or glad, not meh, right? Everybody leaves them meh. Everybody makes a cold call. I don't care if it's a client or to a candidate. Most recruiters make a cold call, sales guys too, and it's your pitch. I'm not interested. Call us and say, okay, thanks. If anything changes, give me a call. Let's connect on LinkedIn, right? That's what most people say. I said I'd connect on LinkedIn. We're going to grow my network. There's so much more you can do. So there was a company called TLC for Architecture, Tilden, Labus, and Cooper. They're based in Orlando. We did about $150,000 or $200,000 worth of business with them, all from one phone call that did not sow any what's the word I'm looking for? Didn't produce anything for over 7 months, right? So I'm out there marketing an MPC. I had a candidate who was a structural engineer structural engineer who wanted to be anywhere on the coast of Florida. And this TLC happened to have an office in Cocoa Beach. So I call this guy, don't remember his name, pitch him the candidate. He says, no, we don't have an opening. And we start talking, and I do what I always do, right? Do you guys use recruiters? Do you have any openings? Do you know anybody's looking? What about you? Would you make a job change? And we hit it off. We were talking about bullshit, right? And this was before LinkedIn. This is way before LinkedIn, right? So write you down my little tickle file, move on. 6-7 months later, I get a call from this guy. He says, hey, Tom, this is, can't remember his name, with TLC. You called me 6 months ago, for a structural engineering guy. We are in desperate need of a structural engineer. Can you help us? Yes, I can. That transpired into a call to the corporate office. They gave me the search in Cocoa, plus I did a great job on that. They gave me some other searches. I ended up filling a position for a director of electrical engineering. Another story I like to tell about getting past, I'm happy where I'm at, right? I can tell on that one later. But like that call to that guy in Cocoa brought me 7 months later into this organization that paid us $150,000 or $200,000 in fees. And it was because that guy remembered who I was from that call 7 months ago.
Absolutely.
That was the only reason.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to make that impact. If you're going to cold call and you have a hiring manager on the phone, you have to make an impact. Then remember who you are, whether they hate you or love you, but at least make sure they remember who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a funny call this morning. Guy hung up on me, and that doesn't normally happen. And he immediately texted me back and said, I'm sorry, I hung up on you, but we never use recruiters. And that was rude of me.
And God, dude.
I wrote back to him and I said, hey, thanks for the note. It was rude. And all I'm going to say is I've been in recruiting for 30 years and I have a really good memory.
See, that's nice. I would have said, dude, if you learn anything from talking with me today, do not ever say that to a recruiter, because you are one of two things. You are a source or you are a client. And if you tell me we don't ever use recruiters, guess what you are? You are a source, which means every recruiter you talk to, you say that to, knows that and will recruit from your company. And you don't want that reputation. So whether you use recruiters or not, don't ever say that.
Absolutely. Well, I did use all my connection stuff and invited probably 14 of his people to connect with me. That's the only thing you really can do.
And someone says that, I go, that's awesome. When they say we don't ever use recruiters, Like, oh, yeah, I appreciate it. We don't have recruiters. Like, oh, that's awesome. And it kind of stops them in their tracks. They go, what do you mean? I go, I need sources. So if you're never going to use me, I know where I'm going to get my people. And you want to talk about people have screened at me for that, called me an asshole, hung up on me. I've gotten it all. But if they do engage with me, I will tell them, dude, if you don't want to use recruiters, that's fine. You're good at filling positions. That's great. But don't ever say that direct because it puts a bullseye on your company.
Exactly.
And you don't want that.
Exactly.
You don't.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's what I was talking about, Leslie, about like making an impression. If I say that, that person's going to remember who I am. And there may come a time where they need to use a recruiter and they'll go, you know what? At least that guy was honest with me. I'm going to call him back.
Yeah.
Right. I've had people who've yelled at me that have called me back.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was honest.
Yeah.
Right. That's all you're being is honest.
I don't put any notes to that effect in the database because I don't want to go into that call thinking, oh, the last time he was angry. You know, because likely as not, you call them again and they're saying, hey, thanks. Yeah, we just have something. Now, I don't want to carry that bad mojo.
Do you ever have someone that you could take things out on? I used to have a number of a HR manager who screwed me over royally.
Oh.
And whenever I would get in a bad mood, I would call her up, disguise my voice, and call her bad names and hang up on her. I would transfer my bad mood to her. It got so bad I could never, like, I had done that probably over a year, and I would do it like maybe once every 4 months, right? I would get like somebody would piss me off, and I'm like, I don't know. Can I go to so-and-so? You're a bitch. Click, right? That's how I do it. So after like a while, they wouldn't transfer. You had to say who you were, why you were calling. She wouldn't take anybody's phone call anymore. I drove her insane.
What did you do? Star 67 when you called in?
That when I worked at Peterson's in Florida, we had our phone number came up blocked. Before that was a bad thing, it was blocked number.
Oh.
Yep. So it never had to do the Star 67. And I kept trying to, once towards my last couple of years there, the block number was causing issues. And I said, can you see about unknown name? Because that was the thing then, right? A lot of times you'll get unknown name and don't get it anymore. But back then it was unknown name with no number. I said, can you see if we could switch from block number to unknown name? And I think they were working on that before I left. But that, I think today, if something comes up block number, I will not answer it. I just won't.
Yeah.
And I answer almost anybody that calls me. I'll answer. So,
well, I use Star 67 when I call my particular legislator.
Yeah. So they answer everybody's phone, right? But when we're calling candidates, right, there's not a lot you can do. I just make sure that my number doesn't say Palermo Roads. It just says Washington, D.C. if you call from my office. And I don't know what it says for my cell phone. It might say my name if I call from the cell phone.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have me saved, so it probably comes up my name, but I don't know. It may say something like maybe Tom Alascio if I have email. Because that's the thing. The way that iPhones work now, if you email someone and your phone sees my email there, thomas@prsearchinc.com, 772-532-9785, and then I call that person a couple of days later, it'll say maybe Tom Alascio because it'll put 2 and 2 together. That's how good these systems have gotten, because I get these email or these phone numbers occasionally from people who have emailed me, and it'll say maybe Steve Jenkins or maybe Leslie Azor because you sent me an email or something, right? Or I sent you an email or whatever. So you really can't hide anymore, which is fine.
I am scrubbing every phone number in my cell phone when I go overseas in a couple of weeks.
Scrubbing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, not to get on
I don't
tangent,
want,
yeah, don't want anything. You don't want to take anything overseas you have to worry about, right? Exactly.
No. This
Where are you
particular,
going?
We're going
to see
to
your brother?
No, we're going to Turkey.
Oh, cool.
And like I said, I'm not afraid of what can happen to me. I'm very concerned about leaving and not having my wife be able to come back with me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Leslie, are you in the UK? You can just give us a thumbs up. Okay, you are. Are you in like London or are you in like Birmingham? Like where what part?
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Okay. And do you work? Do the entire UK and Europe, or just UK?
Yeah, absolutely. Currently focused on Germany at the moment, but I'm trying to expand, and yeah, that's where I am.
So, do you have to speak German to work in Germany?
No, but it's a crazy market. Notice period 3 months. People are very stuck up and not very friendly, but it's
I'm
very
married to one, so
it's very different. But the good thing
Okay.
is it's actually a gig, so I paid a retainer on a monthly, and that's why I'm quite comfortable with that for now. But it ends very soon, and I need to be back on the road now, hunting down new clients.
Leslie,
Okay.
let me ask you a question. I mean,
Yeah.
I've lived overseas several times and traveled quite a bit. I mean, it's just an honest question from an American.
Sure.
Do you see, from a recruiting standpoint, because of what's been happening with our dear leader, Trump, that Europe is going to become a little bit more self-sufficient, and that might be a great market because of the great minds that are going to be coming together and just basically saying, okay, we're not going to be able to do stuff as much with the United States. Let's make sure that we have within the European Union and greater Europe factories opening and business alliances formed.
Great question. I think it's a yes and a no thing. And that's because, how do I answer this question now? I mean, obviously the UK isn't part of the EU anymore, so
Correct.
we're
Yeah.
suffering for that anyway, and we're quite alienated, if that's the right word. I do believe that things will change because America remains a powerhouse, and something's gonna change. I don't think Europe can band up together in that way without you guys, honestly.
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
kind of
Trump can do all he wants, and when he sees the results of his actions, if it's not favorable for the country, I'm sure he's going to change his tactic. I do believe in your leader for some strange reason. Don't ask me why.
This is the look of surprise.
I mean, you voted for him, so.
No. Well, yeah, on paper it all makes sense. I mean, but I'm sure that Kelly and Thomas are think the same thing I do in regard. I mean, politically speaking, I don't know.
I'm worried about what's going to happen because there's no rhyme or reason to anything that's going on, and tariffs don't work. So that's my only concern. How is it now? Let's say tariffs don't work. Blanket tariffs don't work, right? Some tariffs work. Obviously, steel is good because China is flooding our market with cheap steel. It keeps the prices in line, so our manufacturers don't go out of business. Same with cars, right? But blanket tariffs don't work. So that's the only thing that scares me. Is the blanket tariffs, how this is going to affect a small business owner who, is buying whatever raw materials from whatever country so they can do whatever they want, right? That concerns me a little bit. And I worry about them more. I don't worry about me. Like I've worked diverse recessions and still was able to keep a roof over my head and food on my family's plate, right? But I worry about the small bit. Like this goes back to that whole thing. Like I'm a hippie liberal. Like I care about everybody. So I worry, like that scares me. I worry about those type of people, the younger generation. What the hell is going to happen to them if this goes to hell in a handbasket for 6-8 months till we figure it out? China's not messing around. So,
well, yeah, from a recruiter standpoint, I think we all kind of look at the overarching effects that everything affects everything. We've always been told that a dollar spent goes about 7 times. And if we just winnow it down to each one of our specialties, if a supplier into that specialty of ours has to charge too much. I mean, let's just look at from what Thomas and I do. We in construction, you do a lot of steel. So, I mean, I'm sure you look at what would be the catastrophic events that would proceed if all of a sudden Nucor and all the people that we've talked with in the past simply cannot build.
And that also goes to just like interest. You have all these things like interest rates, raw materials, labor, and that's the only positive sign is that the labor market still is a 4.5% unemployment rate, right?
Yeah.
That's ridiculously low. So
Absolutely.
no matter, like,
Absolutely.
we have so many boomers that are retiring, and then if they do pause H-1B and immigration and deport undocumented workers, we're going to have a serious issue with labor in this country, both professional and white collar, blue collar. So we're going to be fine. I may have to shift a little in the areas, but it's not. We're not going to have an 8% unemployment rate anytime soon, unless we're in a damn depression, right? Then it doesn't matter. We're all effed, right?
Well,
But
Leslie, I'm glad that you have faith that America will
survive.
sort of do what's best for the situation.
Yeah, I'm quite positive, to be honest.
Hey, that's awesome. No, I hope for the best, prepare for the worst, kind of thing,
Absolutely.
right? And when you do a search, I try to under promise and over deliver, right?
Totally.
Yes, we can fill this search. It's going to be difficult, right? You're talking about a highly specialized position. It could take us 3 to 4 months to find them, yada, yada. And then if I find the guy in a month, I look like a rock star, right? I happened to do this for a company in New York, and it screwed me because they wanted me to fill 2 more positions and we couldn't find the people. We found a guy in 3 days that I thought was going to take me 2 months to find. And then they wanted to know why we couldn't find anybody else. Well, he was the only guy that could get to go there. So, but under promise, over deliver is important.
No, I agree. People get too many phone calls from people who do the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm. And so you started your company 6 months ago, right, Leslie?
So I got laid off from Emnify, a German company, and then I signed them up as my first client. So,
oh, that's cool. What does Emnify do?
IoT.
Okay, so you kind of did like a RPO type of thing for them for 6 months or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing for now.
Okay, that's good.
Ends next month. Yeah.
Are you looking to get more RPO, or do you want to just do permanent placement?
I'm open, honestly. I'd rather do permanent, because RPO, you kind of get sucked back into the things that you don't want to deal with, meetings and catch-ups and a bit of politics, but permanent, I prefer permanent.
And having to work on stuff that you don't want to work on.
Projects,
right?
yeah.
You can't walk away.
Yeah.
When your RPO is an RPO, right? Like,
yeah.
That's it's interesting.
Absolutely. And then I do a lot of splits as well. I've always had split partners. I've had a lady I've worked with, Sarah, for about 8 years now. And, go on the side, we do split, and then we share the money. But yeah.
That's good. No, that's again, we're here. Hopefully, like you said, you're absorbing as much as you can, and hopefully we can help you, up your game and whatever we need to do. So yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. But
I'm looking forward. Good.
No, carry on. Sorry. What's your aim? I mean, this program that you spend 1 hour every week. Why do you do it?
I told you.
I
like to give back. I like to give back.
Oh,
that's
really?
it. Well, part of it was I was interviewed by Ben Mena like 1.5 years ago. And like I always say, I'm open to give back. Call me anytime. I put my phone number in there and my email, and I still get lots of calls and emails of people like, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? Which I'm more than welcome to do. But I thought if I did this for the more simple stuff people would call me about, they could come on or they could submit questions and ask. That's really why I do this. It's strictly that's why it's called Ask a Headhunter. Like, you can come on and ask me how to use an applicant tracking system. You could ask me how to set up my typing mine. You could ask me how to do prompts for recruiting. You could ask me, how to overcome I'm happy where I'm at, or I'm not looking, or we don't pay fees, or your fee is too high, right? I'll answer pretty much any question, because that's a lot of the questions I got was stuff like that. Like I have a client telling me this, what should I do, Tom? Right. So that's kind of why I did this, because I wanted to be able to give back and then tell the people who do, like, I have like, maybe can I have like 5 minutes of your time? I'll say, well, just come on to the Ask a Headhunter live and we can answer it there. And that way other people can learn. So that was kind of the idea behind it, is to free up some of my time, because I was finding myself scheduling calls at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, 3 days a week to answer stupid. I'm sorry, to take this. People who are watching, not stupid questions, but simple questions that could have been answered on the round table. So, or something like this. So that's,
it's much more efficient the way you're doing it. I mean,
yeah. Well, thank you for your service.
And that's kind of like if no one shows up, like if Steve and you hadn't showed up, I start something, right?
Yeah.
I'll go, okay, guys, let's look at Navigator and how to do a search here. Or let's talk about Cold Info. Hey, here's Typing Mind, right? Like I want to do a whole new video for Typing Mind because a bunch of stuff has changed. And
please
now I have like 27 models now, not just Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini. I have like 27 other large language models that you can do all different types of things with. Some work better than others, and learned about. I just keep learning on how to use the large language model better, and there's a lot of benefits in recruiting, just in the back of the house kind of thing, like making my emails sound better, right? Making my presentation sound better, making basically anything. Like today I was trying to put something together, so I took like what I had, put it in here, and then I just talked to it. I said, hey, this is what we're trying to do. This is what I wanted to say. This is what I wanted to have. I want it broken up this way. Could you do this for me? And then it just runs and spits out basically what I asked for, because it's smart, way smarter than I could ever be. And it can kind of take Tom's stupidity, blurting all the stuff that I want, and concise it down to, in fact, so that guy I'm talking to tomorrow, I had an email and it wasn't that good. So I dropped it in ChatGPT, and then I have like different prompts on natural language, talk like this, say it this way, act like I'm talking to a friend, or make it more concise, or make it like act like I'm talking to someone who doesn't know what I do for a living. And there's all these ways. So I kind of redid it a couple ways and got it to a point where I was like, this is perfect. I never could have thought of this. Dropped it in there, and that was the message that I sent out that got me this appointment for tomorrow. So a lot of times it's just because my grammar is not very good, my spelling is not good. It makes me sound better. It gives a more conversational tone to stuff. There's just so much you could do with it. I could go on, and I guess I still have 17 minutes because I got a call at 6:10. You can do stuff with Excel sheets. You can do with stuff with PowerPoint presentations. I have a prompt, right? You could put together a PowerPoint. Hey, Sasha, how are ya? You could put together a PowerPoint presentation. Just tell it what you want and say, I want 6 slides, 7 slides, 8 slides, whatever. It'll create all of it for you. Put it into a code. You drop the code into PowerPoint, and boom, it's created. So you don't have to type a single thing. You just tell it like I don't know if you guys have text-to-speech or whatever. I have the text-to-speech on everything. I'll say, hey, I need a PowerPoint presentation. I want it to be 7 slides. I want it on Ask a Headhunter Live. I want you to do these 7 topics. I want the first topic to be about this, the second topic to be about this, the third topic to be about. Put bullet points, 3 bullet points for each topic that you can find on the internet that's relevant to those topics, and put it into a PPT, right? And I have this prompt, and I do it. And then it runs, and then it gives me this code. I drop the code into PowerPoint, and boom, there we go. It's done. Like, it's stuff that I couldn't do. I don't have the patience to go through and make a 7, 8, 9 slide PowerPoint presentation. Just don't have it. Now, I have the knowledge, and I can tell it the knowledge that I want to put into a PowerPoint presentation. So now it creates it for me. And stuff like that.
Leslie, Tom has a really good, if you're looking to pick up another big client or a couple of big clients, Tom's got a really good presentation on how to get new clients that you did. I think it's on one of your
we did. Yeah, I think we did. We talked about the four concepts, right? I think we talked about that last week as well, right?
Yeah, we did. Thanks,
I love talking about that, right? I feel like I've over talked it, and because I put it on Reddit, I put it on LinkedIn, I put it on Facebook. I love talking about it because those are just 4 very good ways that anyone starting out can generate some business relatively quickly if you're consistent with it, right? And again, I talk about this like I'm blue in the face. And when you make a phone call, I don't care if it's a client or no candidate, you know they're only going to say a couple things back to you. If you're prepared for what they're going to say back, you'll have much more success than anybody else out there, because the client or the candidate is not expecting you to say something back other than, okay, let's connect on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
If you can say something to them that breaks them out of what they usually hear and engage them into a conversation, you're going to make a more dramatic impact with everybody you talk to, and eventually you're going to make a friend. Ernie, the Godfather, likes to talk about making a friend, right? Those are the greatest conversations, the ones where you hang up and you felt like you made a friend, right? Obviously, friends can't pay your bills, but that's kind of the point, is like you connected with someone. They're going to give you a chance. Yes, let's talk about a job search, and they give you a search to work on. Or yes, I'm interested in your opportunity, but there was a connection there. You can't get those unless you're making the calls, right? And trying it on every single call, and deal with the rejection, and deal with getting your teeth kicked in, and deal with getting hung up on it, and being text. Sorry, I didn't mean to hang up on you, but we don't use recruiters. Fuck off, right? Like that just happens. That's just part of this job. But you'll get better at it. You'll overcome objections easier. You'll deal with rejection easier, right? Because it'll just be like second nature to you. When I pick up the phone and I call someone and they say I'm happy where I'm at, I don't even have to think about it. It just comes out of my mouth, right? Like second nature. And that's what you want, right? When a client says, send me your resume, I didn't ask if you wanted to see a resume, right? That's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. I asked if you had an interest in a candidate like this. But let me tell you what, Steve, I've been doing this for 27 years. And really, there's only 3 reasons why I ever hear send me a resume. 1, you get an opening, you're really excited about my candidate. 2, you get called by recruiters all the time to tell you about this great candidate, ends up being a friggin' schmo. Or 3, you're too nice a guy to tell me to go pound sand. Which one is it? Right? That cuts to the fucking chase. And oftentimes they'll say, well, honestly, I was going to tell you to go pound sand, but now I'm kind of intrigued, right? And then now you're in a whole different conversation, right? You're in a whole different conversation. That resume you were trying to pitch this guy is gone. You're talking about, I've been doing this for 27 years. These are the 3 reasons. You're telling pound sand. He laughs. You start talking. You find out, well, Tommy, honestly, we didn't have a need for that guy, but I have a division that is in dire need of an operations manager. Really? Let's talk about that. Whole different conversation, right? That's what you're trying to do. When you're out there talking to people, you want to make a connection. So like I was saying earlier, they call you in 7 months from now because they remember who you are, or you shake them out of the, I'm happy where I'm at. We don't have any openings. Send me a resume objection that they use just like you and I use when we walk into a Gap and we say, we're just looking. Or we walk into a car dealership and, you know, the Hyundai dealer, the Porsche dealer, whatever, and you walk on the floor and they go, can I help you? And you go, I'm just looking. Bullshit. No one fucking comes to a car dealership to look around. You're coming there to buy a car, for Christ's sake, 99% of the time. So a good sales guy is going to deal with that objection, right? They're going to say, that's great. I know you didn't come on this car dealership just to walk around. I got some other cool places we can walk around, and fuck this car dealership. It's hot out. Is there a particular car you're looking for? Is there a particular color, particular model? Is it for you? Is it for your what? And next thing you know, you're talking to them. But if you're not a good sales guy and you don't do that, you're going to say, okay, well, here's my card. If you see anything, come in and get me. I'm going to go sit in the room. A good sales guy is not going to do that. Just like at the Gap. Oh, okay. You're just coming to look around. There's something specific. Is it for you? Is it for your husband? Are you looking for pants? You're looking for that? I don't care that you're just looking. I don't give a shit. I want to know what you're looking for, why you're here, what's the deal. That's all. And that's what we do in recruiting. We're sales. It's sales. You're selling yourself. You're selling your service. You're selling a candidate. You're selling your client's job and yourself to this candidate. It's a dual role sales job to a product that can say no, and you're selling something you don't friggin' own to somebody who doesn't want anything. So you better get fucking good at it. and make an impact.
And if the economy gets tougher, you're going to have to get. We're all going to have to get a little bit better than we were yesterday.
That's the point. You know, maybe I shouldn't be saying this when the recession comes. I don't want anybody to know my secrets, but let's be realistic. When a lot of people got into this, you know, people were hiring anybody who had a pulse, right?
Fog and mirror, yeah.
And they were just, yeah, exactly. Like a fog of mirror, let's hire them, right? And it was easy. And that's the problem with our industry, right? Is that a lot of times people will jump into this because they think how easy it is. And it is easy when we got a 3% unemployment rate and companies are desperate and everybody's doing whatever they can to hire people, right? And they go, oh, I'm a great recruiter. I filled 10 positions last year. Well, wait until you actually have to recruit. Wait till you actually have to develop your own business and go out and get jobs. Then tell me you're a good recruiter. And that's kind of where we're leading to, is that the people who know how to do this on both sides are going to rise to the top, and the ones who didn't, who just shuffled resume. I love saying this. Recruiting is not running an ad or going to Indeed and pulling a resume off and expecting a $25,000 fee for it. That is not recruiting. Our clients can do that on their own. They expect us to find people they cannot find on their own, that are diamonds in the rough, that are gainfully employed, currently working, and do not know that XYZ Corp has a fantastic opportunity in their backyard. That is our job, to bring that to our clients, and they'll gladly pay you $25,000, $35,000, $40,000 to do that. They don't want to do that for some resume you found off, some schmo you found off of LinkedIn with an open to work banner.
And it's all relative to the client. 2 or 3 days ago, last week, I called doing what we've always done, and he says, I have a pretty good line of people. I said, well, what is it you don't know how to find? He goes, damn, if you could find an expert witness in construction, I would pay you big money. I said, tell me more about these expert witnesses. So I actually wanted to share that with you as well, Thomas, because given we're in the similar industry.
Yeah, I mean, expert witness, these are guys that work like forensics. You want to find like a forensics company, find an expert witness. They have to write reports. They're the guys that go and inspect the building. They do the forensics. They look at it, and then they go and they'll go to a jury and be an expert witness.
Exactly.
So yeah,
that's exactly what he was wanting, is somebody who can say, no, it's actually going to cost this much money to refurbish this building that's been destroyed. So yeah, I went right in in my planning hour. I went in and dumped about 350 expert witnesses into Loxo.
Forensic engineers make a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
because they got to crawl on their bellies and look at stuff, and they travel, and then they got to go write reports and sit on and go to a courthouse and be deposed and get yelled at by an attorney, right? So
exactly what he was saying.
Like it. They like it for a couple years, but it gets old quick unless they're a partner, and because they make a lot of money. Even the ones who have like 5 years experience with a PE, they're making like $170, $180, $190, where that same position at a structural engineering firm or a civil firm would be like $130, right? So they're making like 50 grand more, but they're traveling. It can be dirty and grimy. It can be a pain in the ass because you're dealing with courts and whatnot. So that might work on the construction side of things. Maybe they got a better working environment. I don't know. I don't go after a lot of forensics guys because of that reason. Is that they're making too much money and it's hard to get them to take a pay cut.
Man, I think what I got the impression was that this would be mostly for reconstruction, not so much
rehabs and retrofit and that type of stuff.
Yeah, where things have been destroyed, and one side wants to cut that bill down as much as they possibly can and say, no, we're not going to give you that big a contract. The other side, on the recon side, is saying, whoa, wait a minute.
With insurance companies. There you go.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
This is bona fide ducats that we're going to need to pay. Yeah.
So, Sasha, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to talk about the last 5 minutes we got?
Well, I have a lot of questions. I bought my first domain, my name.
Congratulations.
My hosting. So that's progress in work. You kind of confused me when you said that the companies are not looking for people that they can find themselves. But, excluding LinkedIn, the people who have the trade, what is it called? The trademark or the flag open to hire, wouldn't you mostly like pitch candidates on LinkedIn?
Not okay. So
Or are you
open to
using
work.
some type of contact finder?
I won't say that open to work can't help you, right? But depending on the position you're working, and you, I think you may have heard me say this before. Like one of my rules I live by is I won't work with a candidate who's working with other recruiters or interviewing at other companies.
Yeah,
I won't work with a company who is using multiple recruiters to fill the same role they want me to work on, right? So it's that same thing, right? So if you get, like, I just reached out to a guy who's open to work, but he's a highly specialized engineer. I don't think he's going to get his door beaten down on people, right? I could be wrong, right? So I won't say that I won't work with open to work people. I just don't think it's in our best interest when you should be finding someone that you get excited about an opportunity. They're currently employed, but they didn't get their bonus. They drive an hour to work every day, and your position's 30 minutes away. His boss is 3 years older than him, so there's no room for advancement, or his boss is an asshole, but he likes his job. Like, there's all these little things you're looking for, right? And that's what we're trying to find, right? So let's say we're trying to find a bottle washing engineer in Chicago, right? So I'm going to reach out to all the bottle washing engineers and try to find that guy that's in that, like, well, you know, Tom, things are good here, but I travel an hour to work every day, and my boss is 47 and I'm 43, so I'm not. And then all of a sudden I can roll into why this is a better opportunity, right? I often ask the question, there's two questions I think are important to ask on a recruit call with a passive candidate. I know that I called you, but what would motivate you to leave your current company? And the reason I say current is because that has an air of change, right? If you say, what do you like about your current wife versus what do you like about your wife? One's going to get you on the couch and one is not, right? Like, you don't refer to your wife as your current wife. You don't refer to your husband as your current husband, right? That's like, you know, something you don't want to do. So that's why I say, what will motivate you to leave your current firm, your current company? I know I called you, Sasha. I know you weren't looking, but let's be realistic. What would motivate you to leave your current firm? And you don't want to hear money. You want to hear, well, my boss is 47, I'm 43, I drive an hour to work, yada, 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 right? And then if you do get them to interview and they call and talk to your client and they have a great interview and you hang up the phone, right? And you call them, how did it go? Oh, it was great. I talked to Steve. He was awesome. I'm definitely interested in moving forward. Okay. Can you tell me why this job is better than the one you have now? Right? Tell me why this job is better than your current job. And it better be something besides money, or you're looking at counteroffer, right? If they can't tell you that there's more room for advancement, that it's a better working environment, it's more exciting projects, et cetera, all that company they're working for now has to do is offer them more money and they're going to stay. Now, there is a caveat to that. If they're grossly underpaid, right? But I had a guy who was grossly underpaid in California. I got him a $40,000 raise and he still took a counteroffer of $10,000 because he liked his job that much. I didn't prep him. I didn't do anything. I just assumed when he told me he was making X and I knew my position was going to pay 40 grand more than what he was making now. It was a Fortune 100 company. I thought I was sitting hot cotton. I didn't do any prep. I didn't do any cover objections. Didn't ask him what motivated him to leave his current. I didn't do any of that. And he took a counteroffer, right? And a shitty counteroffer at that, but he loved his job that much. It was my fault. So when you start focusing on those things, that's where these passive candidates pay off, right? Because in a market where there's a lot of need, we call it a candidate-driven market. If you find an open-to-work guy or a guy who's sending his resume out everywhere, you're competing with a bunch of other recruiters. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I also say there's an exception to every rule. You can get a candidate who tells you he's got 3 other interviews, but only if you have definitively the best opportunity in the world that you know he's not going to turn down, because your company's bigger and better and strong in every way. And it's very hard to know that, but you can attach it that way. And the same thing with working with a client who's got a bunch of other recruiters. If I got that rock star candidate that I know beats everybody out, I will present them. But don't kid yourself that some schmo you pulled off LinkedIn with an open to work banner is that good, right? It's going to have to be a rock star, right? And I have come in behind. I've done this, not a lot, but I've come into searches where they say we have 3 candidates, and I go, well, I got a guy you got to interview, you got to talk to him. No, but Tom, I go, trust me, this is the guy. I know you got another recruiter working on it, and you got 2 internal candidates. You need to talk to this guy, and they hire my guy, right? I've done that, but you got to have that guy. You got to really, really be confident in your interviewing abilities, your ability to do all these things, to know that you have the guy. So stay away from candidates working with lots of recruiters. Stay away from companies working with lots of candidates in general, if you can. Now, I know we all, starting out, we take what we can get. I worked on anything and everything the first year of my life. It did not matter how many recruiters were working on it. It didn't matter how many times my candidate was interviewing. And I was just sending anything out just because I needed the experience. I needed to get my teeth kicked in. I needed to learn. I needed to make things happen. And you just do that. That's how you learn, right? You just go and you do. And eventually you start realizing, okay, I'm good enough now. I'm not going to work on any searches with other recruiters. I'm good enough now. I'm not working on any contingency searches. I'm good enough now. This candidate's not willing to just only interview with my client, thinking it F himself, right? That's what happens. As you grow as a recruiter, you become better. You realize who the good clients are, who the good candidates are, what the good opportunities are, how to deal with them, and how to say no, and how to walk away, and how to qualify a job order to say, no, Mr. Employer, you cannot hire anybody for $47,000 in New York City. It just ain't going to happen. And walk away from it. Don't kid yourself that, I might find an out-of-work guy with a limp and an eye patch that's willing to go work there, right? Yeah, you might, but couldn't you be working on 4 other searches?
The opportunity costs.
Yeah. People forget about that. Well, it doesn't take anything to take a job. Yes, it does. It does, because you'll get stuck into that. You'll get frustrated. You'll think you can send some resumes. You won't get any. No, just be willing to walk away. And that's what we're going to talk about this Friday, on the Recruiter Roundtable at 12:30 Eastern Time with me, Kelly, and Ernie, and everybody else who shows along. I appreciate everybody who's watching now, everybody who showed up today. It's 6:01. I got to get out of here because I got a call with a candidate in California, because I work crazy and work all the time zones. So thanks for everybody for stopping by. I really appreciate it. www.therecruiterroundtable.com to get more information. Email us at therecruiterroundtable@gmail.com. And until then, tomorrow, this Friday at 12:30. Also, for those Loxo and Jobin users, we're having the third Thursday in 2 days. The third Thursday, Loxo and Jobin cloud meeting. So I got a busy week this way with this one and the Jobin and blah, blah, blah. So until then, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we'll see you either Thursday or Friday. And until then, don't forget to smile and dial.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all you do.
Thank
I've
you.
connected
Bye,
with
guys.
Steve and Sasha on LinkedIn as well. I've
Farmer,
connected
you could be
with
sending out invites for that.